Well, welcome to video number 18. We are now. I thought you'd like to see my new bike I've got. It's the third one. I now only own two, but having part exchanged the old Ironhead Sportster for the Heritage Softail Springer that I got. I still got that because I couldn't bring myself to part exchange it for the new one. And the wife said, bless her, well, keep them both for a year and see if you ride them. So there we are. So a brief history before we go and look at it was that owing to getting a mild cold, which then after 2 weeks developed into COVID, and at the time you weren't allowed out when you had COVID. I hadn't been to the Harley dealership for about 5 weeks. So I thought I'd pop in there and touch base, say hello, drink their coffee. And I chanced to see in the car park one of their salesmen, Mike. He was chatting to another customer. And when he'd finished, I asked him about the possibility of a custom bike, because they will build any Harley you like to any specification. The catch being, of course, that you have to pay. So I asked him the how long is a piece of string question, which of course is how much does it cost? And he said, well, it depends on the donor bike, because if you want, for example, an EL or some like 50s engine, then we buy one of those bikes. So if that costs you £30,000, that's what you have to pay for the donor bike, and then we strip it down and customise it to your exact specifications. So you've got to pay another £30,000 on top of that to get your bike. So anyway, he said, well, so tell me what you want and I'll give you a rough idea of how much it's likely to cost. So I said, well, I want a rigid frame, got to be rigid, or a soft tail frame, because that looks like a rigid frame, but it's got a hinge in the middle. So it gives you a little bit of comfort. So I want Springer forks, because they're the coolest. I want the engine needs to be an S&S engine or something with modern materials in it, where I can hot it up and the studs won't pull out the crankcase, for example, or something like that, because it's made of modern materials. Petrol tank, I said, I've done the peanut tank at 70 miles to the tank full. I want a sensible petrol tank. And the mud guards, I don't like the bobber mud guards where it's fashionable at the moment to cut them off at the back of the seat. And it looks like there's a bit dropped off. I don't like those, and I don't like the full wraparound ones that go down to the ground nearly. So something in between, like a bobtail type of thing, which I rather like. Other things are just accessories like rev counter, maybe a petrol gauge or something like that. Those things we can sort of get down to those at a later stage. He said, stop talking, follow me. He said, I'm going to save you a shed full of money. So we went out of the car park into the showroom, and there on the floor, on the shop floor, was this bike. And I just looked at it and I said, my mind is going, engine, tick, frame, tick, forks, tick, tank, tick, mudguard. And I said, I've just described that bike to you, unseen, out in the car park. And he said, well, that's what I thought. He said, you've got to buy it. And I'm sort of, no, not today. This is like 3 years in the future. It's my retirement project. Something to do sort of in the future. Well, when you get to my age, you learn in life that when you see something you like, you have to buy it. Because so many times you've seen 100 of something on a shelf, and so you go, yeah, well, whenever. And then you go back 6 months later and say, oh, can I have one of those, please? And they go, oh, yes, we used to sell those. You can't get them for love nor money now. So when you see it, you've got to buy it. So there we are. So I put my hand in my pocket, dug a bit deeper from the money I'd been saving up to retire for my hobby retirement, or even my retirement hobby. So let's go and have a look at it. You can see what you think. We'll run it up the road. I'll take the crash helmet out there. We'll run it up the road because, of course, listening to the sound of these things is half the pleasure, isn't it? So, okay, so we'll just pause you for a minute and we'll go outside and have a look. Right then, so here we are. We brought the crash helmet out because you'll want to hear it, so we need to run up the road with it. And there we are. So some of you may have seen it on the websites. The modifications I've had done to it are it already came with this Screaming Eagle intake. This is the crankcase breather is missing. There's a sealing washer here, look, and there's one on that side as well. And you can just about see inside, if I can get it down. It's on the tripod. The camera's on the tripod at the moment, but you can just about see a hole there, the breather hole, and in this webbing across here, there's a hole drilling through. So that runs across and through to the intake. And there's the same one on the other side. This one is going to be replaced. It's missing because the rubber washer that holds it in place is missing, so the thing fell off. So that's ready to get renewed. It came with the 2007 model here. Comes with these extension pieces in order to fit the rev counter in and clear the headlight here. You can see there's quite a small gap there. The 2009 model doesn't have a rev counter, and it doesn't have these extensions. But I think this is nicer looking than the blue one, although the blue one is the most popular colour. Because it's got an oil cooler, which also the 2009 model didn't have, I asked for a Screaming Eagle oil pump, and the problem there is that this costs lots of money, not because the pump is expensive, but because if you're going to strip all of this out to get inside to get to the oil pump, it comes with a new cam plate, and you might as well put in the Screaming Eagle cam followers or lifters and the push rods and the inner cam bearing and all the other gubbins and of course all the gaskets and everything. Because if you're going to pay somebody £100 to take all this out and put it on the floor, you don't pay him £100 to put all the old stuff back in again, which is going to be knackered in 20 odd thousand miles. So that was an arm and a leg to get all that done. Let's have a look around. The exhaust was that was on it originally in the shop was horrendously loud, so I've got Vance and Hines big shots with medium baffles, so we'll hear those in a minute. Walking round, I wanted a carrier to go on the mudguard, but because it has this LED backlight, the brackets that go around and fix in here foul the light, so they're currently scratching their heads about that, and they'll get me something that will fit eventually. The seat is, I don't like it. I'll probably change it because it's very uncomfortable. Got Screaming Eagle HT leads while I was there. These, I might take these off and put on some standard indicators if I can buy some cheaply, because whilst they're nice hooded things, you can't see them from the side, and they're not, I don't think it's very safe. So I'll probably sack those for function over form. Wheels I love. It's got the 21-inch front wheel. The later models have got about an 18-inch with a fat tyre, which is quite fashionable now. But these wheels, they're a doddle to clean. As you can see, it's just smooth spokes. There's a small groove in there you can rub a cloth through, but as you can see, 10 minutes with a cloth and Bob's your uncle. They're lovely wheels to clean, and I think they look nice. I like the lighter style rather than the heavy, cumbersome, fashionable things of today. The decals on there, really nice. I can't decide whether they're hand painted. I shouldn't think so. There's probably a transfer, but but there are things like the paint has got slight bumps in it and dents, so as if it's been hand painted. But I suspect it's probably a transfer. I will be buying an oil pressure gauge which clips on here. That's a video for the future, that's on order. And I'll be buying a temperature gauge to go in there, and I shall get some window bars, or at least about 10 centimeters higher, so about yay high. So I shall have to get the extended cables and so on, because of course that won't be long enough, because it has, you can see if I stand back a bit, we have forward mounted footrests and low bars, so you're a bit folded up in the middle. It does the job. It cruises happily at 70 miles an hour, or motorway speeds. I'm going fairly steady at the moment because of all the new parts in it. But anywho, there we are. So let's give it a run up the road. You can hear what it sounds like, because that's what it's all about, isn't it? You don't want to hear me waffling all the time. Let's put the stand down. So I brought the crash helmet out, as I say, to try it. So we'll put that on. I won't worry about the putting all the right gear on, because I'm only going to go 100 meters up the road, because you're more interested in what it sounds like rather than anything else. So so there we are. Hope you like it. There will be more to come. As I say, I'll fit the pressure gauge and the temperature gauge and things, and we'll have a look at that in a future video. Right, thanks for watching. See you in the next one. Bye.